Hey, Peter.
What's up, man?
What's your wife think about jazz?
She loves jazz.
Does she really?
She loves jazz.
She must be the only one. I'm Adam Maness.
And I'm Peter Martin.
And you're listening to the You'll Hear It podcast.
Daily jazz advice coming at you.
Coming at you with, this is a topic that might get some people in trouble, namely Mr. Peter Martin, Mr. Adam Maness.
Right. Well, before we even get to it, this will be a good stall tactic. So at least we're still going to get into trouble. We have a little bit of time.
Yeah, we'll see.
What did you say your name was?
Adam Maness?
Okay, because I don't know if you noticed, we had a little comment the other day. Did you see that?
Oh, I'm sorry, Adam Maness.
One of our listeners, well, can we call them a listener, a real listener? If they, well, I don't know. But what did they think you were saying?
Adam Ennis, like E-N-N-I-S. Now, in this listener's defense, the double M sound, the ending M on Adam and the beginning M on Maness is weird. I've struggled with it my whole life, and it's my name.
It is your name.
I need to bring this up to my parents. I know my parents, Les and Deb. What's up, Les and Deb?
What's up?
They are frequent listeners to the podcast, and
supporters
maybe I should ask
of the
them,
podcast.
like, did you sound out the whole name when you named me?
But that's a cool thing. It's like, in certain languages when you combine and there's like an apostrophe between it becomes one,
Adam Maness.
Adam Maness.
Adam Maness,
But what I love about it is I think that this listener actually knows your name. It was more of a courtesy. He's like wanted to make sure that everybody
please
knew.
enunciate.
Yeah,
so
it's like, not for me. I know it,
You know, it's funny. This was such a thing for me that when we named our children, like Heather suggesting names that might have an M at the name, I'm like, no, never.
Yeah.
We don't want to confuse that poor kid.
I don't, but I know your name, so it's never been a problem for me. Okay, so all right, back to the scary topic at hand for us. What are we talking about today?
Today we are talking about 7 reasons that your spouse hates jazz. And this is why I was saying we might be getting in a little trouble because it's hard for us to talk about spouses that hate jazz without referencing.
It's a little bit personal, right?
It's a little bit personal.
Well, especially with 7 reasons your spouse. And I'm pointing a finger at you.
Now, let's caveat here. Both of our spouses, I think, really appreciate jazz and like it. And
you didn't say love.
I didn't say love. No, they actually. I know Heather does. She's like proud of the fact that since we've been together, she wasn't a jazz fan. We got together, and she doesn't know a lot about music, and I like that because I can talk about other things like cooking and stuff like that.
Right.
But she is very proud that she's and really invested time into understanding about the music, and now she's like, can pick out, like, is that Oscar Peterson? I'm like, look at you.
You're like, no, it's Louis Armstrong, trumpet. Come on, honey. We're getting closer. Love you, babe. Yeah. Big shout out to Heather.
Shout out H-Back.
What's up?
H-Back.
All right, cool. Well, let's jump into it. Since I've already got my foot in my mouth, I'll start out. How about that one? Let me take it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the number one reason, and look, we're saying this for anyone. We really are not personalized this on the for real. Okay, number one reason your, pointing at the camera, spouse hates jazz. You keep listening to the same track over and over again. He may have liked at one time, but now forget about it. You listen to it so many times. Now, this is actually our fault, right? The musicians. Now, so I'm starting out kind of negative, but this is actually kind of starting on a positive in that this is something that we can do about it. Why would we want to turn our spouse against jazz? We're supposed to be doing the opposite. We're supposed to be evangelists for the music. We're supposed to be bringing them on as fellow evangelists, in this crusade. Am I overstating it?
No, it's because we can't help it.
We love it so much. No, but I mean, it can definitely get to be too much of a good thing. And I remember, like, when we were living in New Orleans, especially, for some reason, I had certain musician friends that would come over, and we wouldn't necessarily listen to the same tracks too much, but we listened to them too loud. Yeah, that's another side of this. Listening to it over and over again, at a very high volume.
Definitely. Well, that takes us to number 2, and that is you are too dogmatic. You act like the jazz police against her or him, and I think that is definitely something I've experienced.
Right.
Like, they'll be like, oh, I really like this track. And I'm like,
Kenny
really?
G's the bomb.
Huh, you like this, huh? And she's like, what? I can't like this? And I'm like, well, you can like what you want. I don't know. I mean, I say it with a bit of snobbery.
As you start to reach for the siren of your jazz police vehicle. Yeah, well, just think about if there's I don't even know if there's a Mrs. Wynton Marsalis out there, but talk about someone that might have been on the other. Oh, can I say this? Is this okay?
She better have great taste.
Yeah. Might get a little dogmatic stuff thrown your way. So that's a good one. I like it. Number 3, they like the music, but they hate the word jazz.
I feel you. I'm with you.
Yeah, yeah, that's actually us. Not only, and so maybe we affect our spouses and stuff too. Yeah, there's a brushback against the word jazz that has come and gone over time, and it's definitely strong now. And I'm kind of bought into that. I'm just sort of in bad habit and lazy to change. But I think that a lot of spouses are like jazz, and when they really kind of learn about it and like I'm a jazz, I'm a cool cat and all that stuff, they're like, nah, corny.
Very. Yeah. Number 4, you don't make any money playing it, so they turn their anguish at the music. This one is great because I have personal experiences of being like, oh, this gig plays pretty well, and I'll tell her what it pays. She's like, oh, yeah, it pays well for a jazz gig.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. That's why I hate jazz so much. The word, the money, the music, everything about it. Love you.
They're not wrong about that either.
Right. Yeah, so it's like, they let the finances, much as we do sometimes. You know? If we hate jazz, it's not because of the music. It's because of the word or the money or the police or something.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's number 4. So what are we on? Man, we're just chugging away at this. It's like a hot potato. Pass it around.
It's almost
and get
like
out.
we don't want to stop and talk about it too much.
Just get in and get out. Okay, number 5. Something is wrong with them. They're classical snobs or they're country non-snobs. So like they're on either end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
And they don't realize, as we know, jazz is like straight down the middle. It's like for the common people, but it's complicated. So if you're like a classical snob, if your spouse is, you're like, jazz is beneath me. You're an elitist, right?
Yeah.
Which is funny because we're usually being accused of being elitist. But then if you're a country snob, am I painting these styles with too broad of a brush?
No, not at all. So I'll step my foot in here. Here we go. So when I first started dating my now wife Heather, loved the lovely Heather McCorkle, in her car was a Matchbox 20 CD. Now there's nothing wrong with Matchbox 20 per se.
No.
But that is an awful thing for a jazz musician to see, because you just like, you're not going to like what I do. Right. If you like that, you're not going to like what I do.
But what a cool thing that you were able to, woo your beautiful wife, and now you have this beautiful family from somebody that was listening to Match. Like it's easy if someone's like, I love Thelonious Monk. Of course you're going to love us. Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
But at least we got something to talk about, right?
That's all charm on my part. That's
good. Yeah. I mean, you're hitting the next level. Are we safe here? Are we about to get taken off the air?
I'm fine.
Okay. So that's number 5.
Yep.
Number 6.
This
is your turn, I think.
You keep practicing in the living room when they're trying to relax. That's a personal one that I hear all the time.
Right.
This is why I have a piano in a separate building than my house.
That's right. It's been a great thing for your marriage, hasn't it?
It's been great because you know what I used to do? I used to keep practicing in the living room when they were trying to relax.
We got to practice. I mean, for the kids, I think it works good. Like my kids grew up hearing a lot. I used to practice late at night. It's funny because I can't even do that anymore. Like my mind doesn't. I'm too tired. I'm sleeping.
Too tired.
But I used to practice a lot late, especially when they were little, so they could sleep through anything. And they also got used to kind of like hearing the music. Of course, a spouse doesn't really get, they're already set in their ways or whatever.
Right.
So a lot of people to my wife, my lovely wife, Kelly, they'll say like, oh my God, the Uber fans, isn't that amazing? You get to hear Peter playing in the house all the time. They're like, and she's like, no, actually he got his own studio about 7 years ago and I never hear it. It's awesome.
It's great.
I come to the gigs when I want to for free.
I can watch Netflix in peace.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's a good one. Don't bring your work home too much, unless it's a song written for them. They somehow always love to hear those.
They love those. That's weird, right?
You can practice that one all night.
Number 7?
Number 7. This is you. Well, it is. I did it last time.
Number 7 is, maybe it's time for a new spouse.
You'll hear it. Maybe it's time for a new spouse. Wow, really?
That's
Adam?
for them.
Really? Yeah, exactly. That's for the spouse.
I'm not saying that for us. I'm saying that for the people. Yeah.
Whew,
okay, so
man, you're beet red, which is more of a purple. I feel like we really nailed those.
She doesn't listen to this anyway. She doesn't like jazz.
That's right. Yeah, we don't have to worry about our spouses listening to this. They don't like podcasts. They definitely don't like jazz.
The last thing she wants to hear in her car or on her headphones is me talking about anything, but especially about jazz.
But now your kids, they're not old enough yet to have the same kind of funny hatreds your spouse does about you. Like they probably still adore you and stuff, right? And everything you do.
At the moment, everything is peachy with that.
That's cool. I remember those times. And that's a fun dynamic because then the spouse gets really mad about that because they're like, oh. But they see in my house for years, like, 'cause my kids are older, they're just like, oh no, we're with mom on this, So it's like me against the world already.
That's coming. It's coming. I know.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, I feel like we really nailed this one. I think we pissed off not only our actual spouses, other spouses, both men and women.
Possibly jazz musicians, and perhaps Wynton Marsalis.
Wynton Marsalis, yeah. Big shout out, Skane. What's up? Oh, man. Well, there you go.
You'll hear it.